And are you looking at it on your side too?
I can try to pull that up.
All right, I think we are live now. So it's Kara Chaffin Donofrio, your guide to real estate in the DC metro area. And I also am joined by Sarah Welsh of Prosperity Mortgage. So welcome, Sarah.
Thanks. Good morning.
Good morning. So again, we wanted to start to provide these kind of weekly updates for what's going on in the market, what we're seeing really from our perspective. And of course, we've got some global data as well. But one of the things I've been hearing a lot about over the past week in my feed from other agents is talking about the difference from, when talking about the CARE Act, the difference between loan deference and forbearance. So I thought that it would be a great thing for, Sarah to talk to us about, see what that's really about. Of course, always you can, double check the info within the CARES Act, but Sarah has been a great resource and has researched some of that stuff for us. So take it away.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, the CARES Act was put into place at the end of March, and it allows for anyone that has a federally backed mortgage that was, experiencing financial hardship due to COVID-19 to put their mortgage into what is called forbearance. And what that means is they can either pause their mortgage payment for a period of 180 days with the right to extend another 180 days, so anywhere from 6 to 12 months, or to pay reduced payments. And the question becomes, and the problem with the CARES Act is that it's somewhat ambiguous in terms of what happens once that period of forbearance is over. They don't define exactly how servicers are supposed to account for the payments that were skipped. So one option that's a real possibility is that you could be obligated to pay that amount in full at the end of that period. Another option would be that you go through a loan modification. So you're paying more than you previously were on your loan to make up for those missed payments. But again, it's a way for people to take a break from payments now, but the ambiguity of it and the real possibility that you could owe a lump sum at the end of the forbearance period might not get you back on your feet like the CARE Act was originally intended to do so. So do you have questions about, how that works, Kara?
Yeah, no, that would be great. I think, because I think one of the things that a lot of agents that I'm friends with have been talking about is one of them allows you to it's forgiven, and one is kind of this lump sum payment. So but it sounds like both are kind of ambiguous, right?
Right. I mean, I don't think that anybody will be forgiven in terms of owing the funds, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have come out with an alternative option, which I think is a lot more attractive for home buyers, and that's that deferral, which is what you mentioned at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And basically what that means is that you have the right to defer your monthly payment for a period of time. And then that payment will be due upon one of three things, either at the end of the loan term, and it's somewhat ballooned, but it's pushed down the road rather significantly.
Okay.
If you refinance, so it just be added to the principal balance on the loan, and you'd pay it at that time, or if the loan is sold, so it could be paid as part of your proceeds. So with none of these options, do I think it's not free money. You're not being forgiven for the payments that you owe, but the deferment is definitely going to be the most attractive option if it's an option that's available to you. And Fannie and Freddie have announced that they're going to start allowing for people to consider deferment starting July of this year.
Okay. No, that's really helpful, because I think it's just helpful that information is out there and that people understand the difference, because with forbearance, it might seem like, oh, this is great, I should just do this, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. I was a finance major, and you learn that day one. So, it's important that they understand what the implications of that would be. And it sounds like it may not be the best option for some.
Well, right, exactly. So my suggestion would be that if you are somebody that's experiencing financial hardship and you do need help one way or another, whether that's forbearance or deferment, it's to call your servicer and have a clear understanding of what it's going to look like for you and what your options are that are available to you, so that you're not stuck at the end of this forbearance period with a balloon payment that you're unable to pay.
Yeah, no, that is great advice. And thank you for providing that update. I think that's helpful for us all. So for clearing
Sure,
up the confusing.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. So then just a little bit on my side, and then we'll wrap up and see if anybody has any questions. But we had during our business meeting with my colleagues, all virtual these days, uh, you know, what we were finding is people are still, buying and selling homes. So I think that the people that are actually out there's probably less and there's less inventory. So sales are down. But one interesting thing that came up was that real estate traffic on our website is way up. And so when you look at, people that are actually looking at that, to me says that the demand is still there. And it's, we'll just have to, catch up with that. And I think once things start opening up in the next few weeks and months, we'll just see how much the demand is there. But what we're seeing, at least on traffic on the website, is that demand is there. Sarah and I actually just submitted an offer for one of my clients this morning. So, again, people are still out there. So if you are thinking of buying or selling, certainly give us a call. I also did a Zoom meeting earlier this week about what to do to prepare your home for sale. So if you're thinking of, or if you were thinking of selling your home, that's a good resource for you to use this time wisely during quarantine to get your home ready. But if anybody has any specific questions, we'd be happy to answer those. One other note that I thought was, again, encouraging, the numbers are, again, down from sales when we look at the spring market last year, which is our busier time. But we still, as a region, Northern Virginia region, Long and Foster, from April 1st until earlier this week, had ratified over 200 million in sales and 354 contracts in that amount of time. Now that's our region as a whole, but again, I guess the message is, there are still people buying and selling, definitely not as much as we would typically expect in the spring market, but if we can be a resource for you in any way, just to let us know. All right. Are you able to see if we have any questions here? Let me see if I can pull up. There's a little bit of a delay, so.
I don't see any on my end.
Okay. Well, if anybody has any questions, we are here to help. And if not, then we can you can certainly reach out to us and PM us and let us know if you have anything further. But I appreciate the update. Anything else that you're seeing on your end that you think would be helpful for people to know?
The only other thing that I'll mention about the forbearance and deferment options that are available to you is, I think one concern that a lot of people have is, what impact is that going to have on my credit?
Mm-hmm.
And the servicers have been instructed that they are not supposed to negatively report anything to the credit bureaus. So it should not have a negative impact on your credit score. You're supposed to be reported as still being active on your current on your loan. So that is one thing that I will mention that, a lot of people did have concern around, is that there shouldn't be an impact. But I would say if you do move forward with one of those options, be sure to monitor your credit just in case anything is reported erroneously.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So, all right. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for being a resource as always. And we're going to, again, make this a regular thing. So if you have any particular topics that you'd like us to touch on, or that you're interested in hearing about, just let us know, because we'd like to make these useful to you all and make sure that we're giving you the right information that you'd like to hear about. So just PM us, let us know, and we can certainly focus these on particular topics as well. But we'll look forward to seeing you next week at 11 a.m. Friday. All right. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.